and David Gregory, the challenger. David was injured in a fall and he could not make it tonight, so we're going to use the abbreviated format again. And Mr. Kitchen, that means we will let you open up with a 3-minute opening statement. You'll get one question and then a 1-minute close. So with that, Ron Kitchen.
Thank you. Everybody hear me okay? It's great pleasure and privilege to be here. I'm sorry that Mr. Gregory couldn't be here. One of my favorite parts of campaigning is the debates, so I'll do my best not to lose the debate tonight, seeing that I'm the only one up.
I could debate you, Ron.
Yeah, I would look forward to that, but people would pay for that. But anyway, most of you, I think, know who I am. It's been my privilege to be your commissioner for the last 4 years. What I'll say is, the short version is my resume. If you go to the Supervisor of Elections website at votecitrus.com, look under candidate profiles, you'll see my entire resume. What I'll just tell you briefly is that I moved here 31 years ago. My wife and I have just celebrated our 30th anniversary. We have 2 sons that were born and raised and still live here in Citrus County. This is our home. We never look back after moving here. And so people always ask, what's the vision? What's your vision of Citrus County? As you look forward, how would you explain your vision? And I'd say my vision of Citrus County is I listen to why other people moved here and what's important to them, and the vision for our future should be is what's protecting, what's special to us about why we all moved here in the first place. And so I've kind of, brought that down to 5 points, which I may touch on later on. But the first thing is that through those issues, whether it's affordability or safety or our natural environment, the decisions that the County Commission makes, I think, are filtered through that. 4 years ago when I ran, instead of just getting up and making promises to you whether I could keep them or not, or trying to find out what people wanted me to say, I went out into the community and talked with everyone. And by the way, I'll mention to you that in my race, I was the only candidate that went out and got all of my petitions signed without paying the entry fee or paying somebody to collect them for me. So I stayed in the car washes and at the fair, and I talked to people, and while I was doing those petitions, I heard what was on their mind. Well, 4 years ago, I did the same thing. And I asked people, what is the big issues? And the interesting thing, you may have heard me say this before, but if I went down through the room tonight and asked you what the big campaign issues were 4 years ago, many people don't remember what they were. And when you can't do that, that tells me that the county commissioners are doing their job, if you don't remember what the big issues were 4 years ago. And in case some of you can't remember, I'll jog your memory. It was under the umbrella of wasteful government spending, where we were charging people for things that they weren't getting. And there were issues like Port Citrus and Meadowcrest, and as I see people nodding their heads, you know what I'm talking about. So really what we've done is we've reprioritized. We now have a fire department back under the county that we've reduced that tax. We've just hired 6 new firefighters, and we're going to be voting on buying land for another fire station. So what you've seen the County Commission do in the last 4 years is to prioritize, and I must stop, even though there's nobody here to beat me up on this. So I shouldn't talk too much because I could.
We have rules. You got to follow the rules. Come on. Okay, you get one question. Here's your question. Okay. And that question is, the county talked a lot last year about uniform garbage pickup, but there's been really nothing done a year later. Nothing has changed. Should there be uniform garbage pickup, and how would you sell the point to the public?
Well, in case you don't know, I made a motion to start the 3-year program towards universal trash pickup and curbside recycling and yard waste pickup. And it didn't get much traction. I couldn't get much support to get moving with it. And I'm saying that not as a knock against my fellow commissioners, because it's a new idea. And I think I was comfortable in moving forward with it because when I was the mayor of Crystal River, we did that very thing. We franchised trash in the city of Crystal River, and now Crystal River and Inverness both have universal trash pickup. So I think the biggest thing is the citizens, if it's important, and that's the #1 issue, by the way, that I hear. I continue to hold town hall meetings, go out and talk to citizens. That's the #1 issue I hear. So I think as citizens reach out to the commissioners and the commissioners do more research and get their questions answered, I really feel that we'll start down that road. Because remember, if we start the 3-year process, if we get to the end of that process, we don't have to do it. We have to give the haulers 3 years notice. But at the end of it, if it's too expensive or there's too many unanswered questions, we can postpone. But to answer your question, I'm in favor of it.
Okay, very good. And let's go ahead and close with a 1-minute closing statement.
Sure. I just want to say this, folks. I've said this all along. 4 years ago, I think elections have consequences. That folks were unhappy with the direction of the county commission. You made some changes. We made some very big changes in the county, and I think we're moving on the right path. Not everybody agrees on everything, but the one thing that I have tried to do is to always explain my votes. Jerry knows very well. They grill me once a month at the Chronicle about, why did I do this and why did I do that. We may not always agree, but I think we have to be able to sit down and discuss it. And the one thing that I've always tried to do is to be able to explain to you why I voted the way I did. You'll never hear me say, well, just because, or somebody told me to, or whatever. I go into work every day. I'm a full-time county commissioner. That's what I do. I retired from my other job to do this job full-time. I study the issues in detail, and I vote the best I can, and I rely on information from you all to do that. So I'm not going to make a lot of grand promises. If you have any questions about anything in the future, don't hesitate to call me. I'll just say this real quick. I answer every email once. If you're mean and nasty, I don't answer them anymore after that. I answer every phone call, and my office is always open to you. So all you have to do is call Doug and make an appointment. I'm there anytime to talk to anyone. I appreciate your vote. Thank you very much.